Right, hi, good evening everyone. This is Lloyd speaking. Right, just let me just gonna tidy up something a bit. Just give me a minute. Right, so for last week actually I asked about what would you all like me to share in terms of indicators. I think I got a few response. I think one response is for me to share trend trading indicators. I think the other was asking me about what kind of indicators that I like. So I think today I'm going just gonna buy those two. The indicators that I really like to trade since the start when I play around with is actually the MACD indicator. Yeah. So just a week. Yeah. So this is what I've shared so far. My FX book. So this is more really of the journaling purpose. My FX helper. This is a mobile app. The Apple and Android both should have. Yeah. So it gives you a myriad of information, be it for the currency strength, COT data, what other, and today's news. Yeah, I think this is free of charge. Don't need to pay anything for it. Yeah, so these are the tools that which I've shared so far. Indicators, average candle, which I think is still pretty useful. Reversal fractal, this is more for those who already have a predetermined direction of when to trade or where to trade. And then the reversal fractal, when it appears, it just gives you a confirmation to it. I understand that fractal is actually a bit confusing to learn. I didn't really explain it through. That is not the purpose of this show. So if you really want to learn about fractals, I suggest you actually go and YouTube more of it. So today I'm going to share about MACD indicator. I think mine is just going to paste it straight away on the Facebook and YouTube for you. So without further ado, let me jump into it. Okay. So once you download the indicator, I don't think I've shared how to install indicators. Yeah, just briefly go through it. So once you have downloaded that indicator into whichever folder that you have it, go to your platform, go to File, Open Data folder, go to MQL4, and then Indicators. Yeah, so from here, all of your usual indicators will be in here. Now, personally for me, because I play around with a lot of indicators, I decide to actually further create a folder in it. Yeah, I just name it as my personal, and then you can do the same thing, and then just plug whatever indicators, custom indicators that I've showed you or you've downloaded on your own in this folder. It'll be easier to find. All right, so that's it for now. So without then, yeah. So today's indicator which I'm going to share is MACD histogram. Yeah. So personally, probably it's just a visual aspect of it. I like the MACD histogram. Yeah, not MACD itself. Yeah, so what's the difference? So I dragged the MACD histogram onto my screen. So on the one below is what the original MACD should be. Right. So you have the histogram part, and then you have the signal line, and then you have the moving average. Okay. Now, personally, I would do away with the moving average and the signal line. I don't really trade those. Some of you might want to, just that I don't. Personally, for myself, I don't. Yeah, so I will just plug both on screen and just to let you know what's the difference. Okay, now straight away, let me jump into it. So with these two lines, the signal line and the moving average, I think is quite confusing to trade at first glance. So let us just simplify it. Oops, what did I do? Like the histogram. There you go. So I'm going to get rid of the signal line. I'm going to explain it one by one. So once I get rid of the signal line, you can see that this is the moving average. Now, this line, you can actually plot it as a very similar moving average that you can do it on your own. So I'm going to change the value. To let's say 100. So you can just take a look at this. And once the moment I change it to 100, it will be, sorry, I think there's a wrong one. So you can see once I change it, it's really smooth out. And if you plot a moving average 100, you can see it's really similar. So that's the reason why I decided to get it of it. To me, I can have the same moving average on screen and it probably serve the same functions. So just let me get rid of that. This is just what I wanted to show you. There. So once I have it, you can see that, sorry guys, it's a bit off at the moment. There. So you're gonna have a very simple way of trading MACD, which I think is efficient. Yeah. So I just repeat again is that by now I hope it's obvious to you that I'm not a big fan of price actions, simply because I think it's just it's very open to interpretation. Yeah. For example, an engulfing bar might mean very different thing for two different traders, depending on how they define it. So I think one of the more popular indicators that we usually use for traders is the moving average. So I'm going to plot the 20 moving average. So the hypothesis is that price above the 20 MA, we're just going to long it. Price below the 20 MA, we're just going to short it. Simple as that. It means the exact signal to go long or short, the MACD will actually give us the signal for it. Yeah. So how to interpret the MACD at this moment? There we have. So if it's a strong red bar, that means there's strong selling momentum at the market. If there's strong green bar, not strong, sorry. If there's green bar, that means there's strong buying momentum at the market. If there's white bar, which is the default, by the way, these are the default ones for the Instagram, for the indicator. So if there's white one, it simply means that either the buying or the selling pressure is waning, is on a decline. Yeah. So don't trade the white bars, just trade the red or the green bars for the MACD histogram. It's as simple as that. Now the next thing that we got to tackle is that what signal are we going to use? So that's the reason why I have the two MACD on screen, just to give you all something to compare. I'm just changing the color to make it more obvious. So let's have a look at the top MACD. All right. So these are the default MACD values. Personally, I don't usually stick to default MACD values. My personal default values, depending on the time frame that we trade on, will be different. Yeah. For daily time frame, usually I stick to values like 5, 10, 15, 20, 25, 30. Yeah. Why this value is because 5 simply because we have 5 trading days in a week, 10 of the measurement of 2 weeks, 15 measurement of 3 weeks, 20 measurement of 4 weeks, which is equivalent to a month. Yeah, so for this instance, I'll stick to 5 and 20. So the fast MA will measure the momentum of the past 5 days. The slow MA will measure the momentum of the past 20 days. This is just something that I will stick to whenever a value which I choose to stick to whenever I backtest my indicators. So the moment I change it, you can look at the MACD. The top one are the values that I changed. The bottom one is the original value. What's the difference? You can see that the sensitivity has overgone some changes already. So, and then you can see that, oops, that's the wrong line that I used. There's 2 valleys over here compared to the bottom ones. There's only 1 valley. I know it's quite small that you can't really see it. Yeah. So these are some of the changes, minute changes that you can see. And then I'm going to add in more changes. The signal line, although we don't use it, it will still affect the overall measurement of the histogram. Right, the MA is the one that we can actually ignore. Yeah, so the signal line, I'm going to just change it to 10. Yeah, so again, 5, 20, 10, I'm on the daily chart. There you can see. If you notice, there will be some really small changes. Yeah, so these are the values that I'm going to stick to. I'm just going to remove the bottom ones. There. So once I make these things clear, then I'll straight away jump onto how this is what I hypothesize as a trading system. By all means, everything which I share on the show, please do not blindly believe. You have to verify and backtest yourself. Yeah, a lot of times things are just on the spot I came up with. Yeah, but then again, it's because I backtap so much, I tend to develop a sense for the indicators itself. Right, so we just over here, you just take from this part onwards, where there's a change in direction. Right, so as I mentioned, as long as price is below the 20 MA, we are going to short it. As long as price is above the 20 EMA, we are going to long it. I'm not going to define whether there's a trend, whether there's a range. Okay, this is a very, very simple definition. Any complications of this made-up system, you've got to add in on your own. So let's start from here. You can see that price is below 20 EMA, and then right at this bar where the selling momentum is present. Okay, so it will be this price action. We're going to enter, and then our stop loss is going to, we're just going to put it above the candle itself. Then we still get a pretty good profit. So for this, I'm going to assume that we are just going for a straight, simple 3R management, which we got in for this trade. And then when price touch the 20 EMA, and it's still below it, we are looking to short. So at this point, this is the price action that we will be looking to short. Enter, but we can see very easily that we'll get stop out eventually. Right? Now, when price is above 20 MA, we are looking to long. So, like I mentioned, the white histogram is something that we're going to ignore because there's no strength or weakness behind it. Yeah, it's just that the momentum is waning. So we are going to long on the green bars only. Right? If you're going to short, we are going to short on the red bars. If you're going to long, we are going to long on the green bars. That's a very, very simple way of trading the system. You can see that price goes up, waiting for retracement. And when exactly do we see the end of the retracement? Let me blow up the screens. So you can see that over here. All right, price gain strength. When it goes to a white histogram, we are looking to long. Right, sorry, when it goes to white histogram, we are going to ignore. Then it goes to the greens, we are looking to long. Now, unfortunately, price is not at the 20 EMA. I would still very much prefer a retracement, so I'm going to ignore this signal. And then price is going to further wane. Red bar, I'm going to ignore. And then goes to a green bar. Price has touched the EMA, and then it goes to the green histogram. And this is my signal to go long. And my stop loss, I'm going to just put it at the last retracement. Eventually, I'll hit my 3R take profits. I'm going to just repeat this over and over again. And then you can see that the strength of the price is waning. Oops. And then finally, over here, you can see that price goes down, touch 20 EMA. Histogram gives me the green signal. I'm going to go long. Again, stop loss below the last retracement, and I'll still hit my 3R eventually. Going to repeat the exercise again. So that's my entry. Look at the histogram. Finally, there's my green candle. Price is above 20 EMA. Previously, it has touched. I'm going to go long again. I will still hit my TP. So far, so good. And then you can see that price goes down. Bam. That's my green histogram again. But this time around, it didn't really hit my 20 EMA, so I'm going to ignore that signal. All right. This is just me going through an exercise. If you want, you can trade it, but please backtest this. Again, you can see that the histogram waning of strength, and then strengthened. Bam, price goes. But since it didn't touch 20 EMA, I'm not really interested in trading it. Price goes all the way down. It touches the 20 EMA, closes above it. I'm still going to trade it. price below, eventually I'll get my 3R. So that's a very simple way of trading MACD in a trend trading context. Yeah, all I've added is just a 20 EMA, looking at the MACD histogram for indication of price action price strengthening or weakening. That's all I'm looking at, and that is what the histogram actually tells me. Yeah, I'm actually ignoring price action altogether. Right, so we can go through this exercise over and over and over again, and then eventually over here, right? So we'll get some stop loss around here. We can see that price still above 20 EMA, histogram waning of strength, and then finally I see a green bar, which is this one. So of course, keeping through the system, I'll enter stop loss below, and eventually my stop loss will be hit. For a trend trading system, eventually we hit our stop loss. We gotta live with that. Price go below 20 EMA. That's where we are looking to short. Yeah, just that we are pending a MACD signal, which is here, and we'll get another stop loss. Right, so we may enter, and then immediately we'll get stop out. So at this time, this is something as a trader, you got to determine yourself. Is this market trending downwards or is it in a range? Because we got two back-to-back stop loss already. Right. What this system doesn't tell you is the strength of the market structure. Okay. So that's where your horizontal levels can come in. Right. So this is a rather simple way of trading. The only thing that it doesn't tell you is the market structure. Again, if you want to tell market structure, there are some other indicators out there that can easily help you determine. To me, actually the zigzag indicator is one of them. Probably I'll talk about it in the next time. Yeah. But in terms of entry, exit, clear cut of reading momentum of price, not price action, reading the momentum of price, I think the MACD histogram does its job pretty well. Okay, let me look at some of the questions. What I want, the 3R take profit target is based on what, Lloyd? Look, when I backtest the system, to me, this is something very personal. Okay, anything that's below 2R or 3R, I don't think is worth to take. Yeah, the reason why I choose arbitrarily 2R and 3R is because I don't know whether I've shared such a chart before. Yeah, so if my any trading system which I trade, if it has a 2R take profits. Let me look at my own chart. Yeah, I have this as my background. Yeah, so anything which has a 2R take profits, okay, all I'm required to win is actually about 35% of the time only. That means out of 100 trades, all I need to win is 35 trades. So assuming I risk $1 a trade, and my system wins 35% of the time, and I aim for 2R, so I can lose $65 because 65% of the time I lose, and 35% of the time I win, that will be works out to about $70. Net, I will still be profitable by $5, which is not a lot, but it is still a profitable system. Okay, so that's why I aim for 3R. So 3R, that means at 35% of the time, that means I will win about $105. And then 65% of the time I lose, I'll lose $65. That means net, I will still win about $40, which sounds a lot better. Yeah, so that's why I go for at least 2R to 3R. Yeah. Anything lesser, I don't think is just worth the effort. I hope that explains for you one. Yeah, I'm not showing anything. I'm just blindly talking about the risk to reward system. Yeah, I think you all can find a lot of literature explanation about risk to reward ratio. What is the optimum one to go for? To me personally, I aim for 2R and 3R. And in my back testing, I usually go for such targets. Okay, Tarish. So when I trade on first green or red after white and above or below 30 EMA, yeah. I mean, that's the presentation I decided to go forward with today. So as long as I mean, as traders, I know it's very easily we can overcomplicate stuff. So I decided to actually simplify it. Yeah, I'm sure some of you who have learned trading will go, oh, EMA, although price is above EMA should be sloping upwards. That part is also true actually. Just that for now, I decided to simplify things. But of course, as trend trader, you want to know that your EMA is sloping upwards. Then, but just to simplify, as long as price is above 20 EMA, and then the momentum which I'm looking for at the MACD is showing me is green, that means the buyers are back. I'll be happy to place a trade. Yeah, because most of the trading system which I aim for, I'm not looking at price action at all. I'm looking for the momentum of price. Yeah, so momentum comes before price action. As long as there's momentum behind it, then just join the trade. Unfortunately, reading on momentum is one of the hardest things to do in trading. Since it's hard, I decided to relegate it to indicators. Yeah, so Paresh, I hope that explains. Right. So the white line, which that means there's a loss of strength, be it for the buying or selling side, I'll just ignore the white bars. The green and red bars is the one that I'm interested at. Okay, green means signifies strengthening, red means it's weakening. So of course, when you want to go for a short, then trade on the red bars. All right, hope that explains. Now, there's not much question at the moment. All right, so there are many MACD indicators on the markets. One reason why I decided to share with this is because this happens to be a multi-time frame MACD. So that means if you have make your decision to trade on the daily time frame, you can actually go down all the way to H1. Just let me, I'll just keep this as default there. Yeah, so just look at the top histogram that I have. So you can see that time frame it measures is 1 day. The bottom one, which is the one that I've just added, the time frame it measures is actually current. So once I switch the time frame to H1, this is what you will see. Yeah. So I think a lot of one of the most useful function that an indicator can have is actually the multi-time frame functions. Yeah. Simply just allow you to look back and always look back for multi-time frame. Always look back. Don't look at what currently it is forming. What happens with multi-time frame, a lot of people misunderstood is that multi-time frame, the thing is actually repainting. No, multi-time frame indicators are recalculating. They are not repainting. Okay? Because if the top one is actually measuring one time frame above, and the one time frame above or two time frame above has not finished, then it needs to constantly recalculate to account for where to account for what price is doing at that point of time. Yeah. So let's take, for example, this portion. All right. So like I say, the top MACD, I've set it to measure 1 day. That means whatever you see over here on the day that you are trading, it is not confirmed because it is constantly recalculating what happens on the daily time frame. Right? What you need to do, if you're using MTF function, is basically it just gives you an easy reference of what happens on the daily time frame. So you look at it, you look at the past, you don't look at the current. Yeah. So that's the beauty of MTF. So what happens? So one way of you can think of trading it. Okay, let me refer back to another chart. No, switch it. Okay, so over here. So again, we are looking at the top MACD. Is that look over here? Price is 20 EMA, above 20 EMA, close above 20 EMA. MACD is showing green. Now, on the very next day, If you want to trade it on 1 hour time frame, this is what we'll be looking at. And you can actually, for a better risk to reward ratio, if you add in a second MACD, which whatever settings that you have, you can actually attempt to replicate the same methods. So that means on white bar, we don't trade. On green bar, then we attempt to actually jump in for the trading setup. And this is what we will get. Market entry, and then easily within that day, you'll get at least a 2R risk to reward win. Yeah. So that's what we can do with MTF indicators. I don't know whether I've explained clearly before or even now. Yeah, but this is what a lot of people use for MTF. They don't see the current reading, but what it gives you is an easy reading of what happened in the past. That means you don't need to keep switching between daily and look, oh, this is what happened, and then go to H1. You don't need to do that. With MTF indicators, you can set it to measure the daily time frame and then just easily scroll back and look at it. Okay. Paresh, does this work on all time frames? But that's an odd question because all indicators work on all time frames. It just depends on the settings that you have. If you're asking whether the settings that I have works on H1 and H4, I'll tell you no. Yeah, my answer is no. Yeah. So like I mentioned, I'm using 52010 for the daily time frame. For the lower time frame, H4 and H1, logically you gotta ask yourself how many bars you want to measure back. Yeah. So if it's H1, one day you have 24 bars. And so for each session, you are measuring about 8 bars. So you can use 8, 24, 48 values of such. All right, that's a very logical line of thinking. Okay, one, as it changes color to green and above the MA line, should I wait at least one to take actions? One, again, I've got to emphasize that what I'm presenting in a very, very simple manner of how to use the indicator. I don't wish to present it as a trading system. Yeah. So what you should do as listeners, as audience to my show, is that, hey, if Lloyd is presenting something interesting, and according to how he references it, don't believe anything Lloyd says. By the way, I'm Lloyd. Don't believe anything I say. What you got to do is take whatever I said, go back test, verify, forward test. Right. Online, don't believe anything people said as it is. Don't take it at face value. You need to back test it. You need to add in certain rules to make it viable to trade. Okay, so again, the particular way which I presented, I did not take into account range. So how do you eliminate range? That is the second thing that you need to ask yourself. All right, I hope I'm clear in that. There are many, many ways to trade indicators. Yeah, what I've presented as such, I believe is the easiest way to look at it. And again, in all my show, the way that I use indicators is I try to eliminate price action from it. Yeah, because indicators, although they don't predict, but as long as it's not a repeating indicator, once it gives you the value, it's fixed. That makes it easier to trade. All right, so with that, thank you for joining me today. I hope I've somewhat make it clear. Look, if I'm not clear, you can actually just type in, hey Lord, you're not clear. Then the next session, I'll come back and actually attempt to explain again and give you more examples. Yeah, because half an hour is all I have. Hope you enjoyed today's show.